So far in algebra, we've been talking about lines, straight lines. So here's just an example of a straight line. And we've been talking a lot about slope. And so let's talk about slope for a second of this line. If I say, okay, class, what's the slope of this line? All of you should come up with the same answer, right? And some of you may choose this point here and this point. And you'd say, okay, well, there's a rise of 2 and a run of 1. So the slope is 2 over 1, or 2. And some of you might choose this point and this point, and you would get the same answer, 2 over 1. Or this point and this point, and you get the same answer, 2 over 1, because a line only has one slope, and it has the same slope throughout the whole line. Now, the thing is that in real life, there's a lot of situations that aren't lines, right? So here's lines, here's what we've been talking about. And today we're going to start a little bit talking about things that aren't lines, and we're going to spend the later portion of the year talking about things that aren't lines. So here's an example of something that's not a line. This is what's called the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's basically a measure of how the stock market is doing. It's sort of a very simplified summary of it. And what this is if you notice, look at this graph, it actually starts on, this is December 31st, 1789, very, very, very long time ago. And then it shows the stock market year after year, all the way to 2014. And so what you notice is there's some ups and downs, right? And if you look, it sort of makes sense when there's a down, right? Look at this down, look at what year it is. This is the start of the Great Depression, right? There's another pretty big dip here, right? I don't, you guys probably are too young to remember, but recently there was a recession around 2008, 2009. You can see there's these dips throughout American history. There's been these recessions. And then there's also parts where it goes up really fast, and that's when the economy is doing really, really well. But what's interesting about this is the stock market is never just a straight line. It goes up and down quite a bit. But if you notice, from the start of the stock market all the way to now, it's grown quite a bit. And even actually, if you look along here and you look at the scale on this graph, they actually made the scale exponential, which means, look, so this is 2 to the first, 2 to the second, 2 to the third, 2 to the fourth. So actually, the stock market has grown incredibly since it started. And so this would be of interest if you say, hey, well, I want to invest my money in the stock market. Well, but look, it goes up and down so much. Well, yeah, but over time it does go up. So if you do invest money in the stock market and you wait long enough, you can be pretty much guaranteed that it will go up. And so this line doesn't have a slope, right, because it's not a line. It sort of goes back and forth. But it does have what's called a rate of change, and we would call it an average rate of change. We say, well, from here, for example, in 1912 to here in 1953, it has a lot of ups and downs, but on average, it goes up, right? If I were to draw a line, it would go from here to here. On average, it goes up. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Well, what does this graph do on average, right? Here's another example of something that's not a line. Here's a table with median incomes. Now, this is how much the median income changes from year to year. And remember, median means the value in the middle, and income is how much someone earns. So this is basically what's the income in the middle in the United States from year to year. And you'll notice, look, from 2008, 2009, it actually goes down, right? 2010, it goes down again. But then in 2011, it goes up, then it goes up, then it goes up. So what I would want to know is not necessarily what happens from one year to the next, but in general, what's happening to the median income? Well, in general, it's going up. And so we'll talk about finding the average rate of change. Same with high school graduation rates, right? This is something that isn't just going to go up on a perfect line. It's not going to go up by 2 points every year. It's just not how it works. But as it goes, sort of here it dips a little bit. You know, here it goes up a little faster. Here it goes up a little slower, right? But in general, it's sort of going up. And then in terms of math, we're going to be starting to look at graphs that look like this. This is called a parabola. And we're looking at all kinds of different graphs that aren't lines. And so we want to be able to talk about what their average rate of change is. So that's what our lesson is on today.